they're fantastic. They're talented, and that 18-point comeback, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, it was just unbelievable.
They definitely deserve to be there.
And the Chiefs even won the coin toss in overtime.
Joe Shiesty.
I do agree. I would love the Rams to win. I'd love Stafford to keep going. But going along with the Super Bowl, who is your player to watch in the Super Bowl and why? Kevin.
Well, Nate, like you said, I am a big Pitt fan. I'm going to have to say Aaron Donald. I mean, have you come on. Have you watched him this season?
No,
12.5 sacks. He's been unbelievable.
He's
Look, if the Bengals don't have an O-line, I know I just praised the Bengals, but they do not have an O-line. I mean, I'm expecting Donald to at least get 2+ sacks in this game.
You know, contrary to my Super Bowl pick of the Rams, I'm going to go with a player in the Bengals that's actually going to have the best game, and I think it's going to be not the wide receiver you're thinking of. I think it's going to be T. Higgins. T. Higgins has had probably the quietest 1,000-yard season because Jamar Chase is getting all the love, but I think if he has a big game on the national stage that we've seen him have all year long, really, he's going to be that dynamic duo with Jamar Chase.
I'm definitely going to agree with you with the underrated wide receivers on the team, but except for Cooper Kupp and all those wide receivers on the Rams, we think about Odell Beckham Jr. Not only is he going to heartbreak the city of Cincinnati, maybe, and the Rams are going to win, but I think the Browns fans are going to be absolutely devastated to see that OBJ, who thought was washed, who thought of everything, I definitely think that he's going to get a Super Bowl ring out of this.
I'd be surprised. I'd honestly be surprised if OBJ got over 50 receiving yards. I know that's bold, but I just think he's been way too overrated.
Well, you know, here's the deal with that is that they're probably going to focus all on Kupp, so that's why OBJ is sort of moved in silence over these last couple seasons. You know, real G's move in silence like lasagna. So I think that's what he's sort of been doing over these past couple of weeks, and he's going to continue that in the Super Bowl. But I think T. Higgins is that same way, same cut from the same cloth, if you will.
Sure.
I personally believe that Odell's going to be in the same boat as the guys are talking. But speaking of Super Bowls, one person that won't be playing in it is quarterback Tom Brady, who recently announced his retirement. Do you think that was it the right time for him to retire? Michael.
I mean, I think it actually depends on who you ask. If you're a Buccaneers fan, you say no. He has many years left in the tank. But if you think of any NFL fan, you say, oh, he's done everything. He's won more Super Bowls than any other franchise that even has been in existence. But I mean, he went to Tampa Bay and won it there. But I mean, it honestly depends on who you ask. But
here's what I think. It's always going to feel too early. It's always going to feel abrupt like he did, because you would think the guy that's won so many Super Bowls is going to go out on top with another Super Bowl. I'm surprised he didn't do that. I mean, do it like Peyton Manning did. But I mean, he did sort of go out on top in terms of his stats, like the passing yards and touchdowns. But it just feels weird. It feels like a weird time. So I don't know if it's right. I'm going to say I'm on the fence here with that.
I mean, so there were a lot of external factors to be the reason why he couldn't go out on top. I mean, the injuries to Evans, Godwin, Fournette, etc. And also, he's 44.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really
It's crazy
old.
that we're talking about a player at such a high level at such an advanced age.
He's an MVP candidate.
But like 44. Yeah, he was an MVP candidate back when I was 5 years old, and now he's an MVP candidate when I'm 21 years old. So it just shows how good his longevity has been over his career. But like I said, it's sort of just been it's a bit abrupt in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree with you guys. I don't know if he retired at the right time, but I know a lot of teams are happy he retired. Moving on to the tweet of the week. This tweet was by Deion Sanders over the Pro Bowl. What do you guys think about this? Tyler.
Coach Prime is right here. Honestly, the Pro Bowl is just unwatchable.
Yeah.
I mean, he's saying, back in the day, I'm remembering when, Sean Taylor went out and destroyed Brian Moorman.
Right.
That was what made people watch the games. You have all these skill competitions and all these other ones in the other sports, but the all-star game of football is a two-hand touch game that isn't even two-hand touch. Like in the backyard, you see rough two-hand touch, you see tough games. It's not like it doesn't have that backyard feel, in my opinion.
I definitely agree with that. The NFL really has to do something. I mean, the ratings came out, it's been the worst since 2006. I mean, you definitely have to do something about that. If people are actually going to watch the Pro Bowl, you got to actually change something about it.
Yeah, I hate to agree with Tyler here, but Dion is absolutely right. I turned it on and
Why do you hate to agree with me, Kevin?
Because I do. But I couldn't watch it this year. It was always kind of hyped up.
I have not watched the Pro Bowl since I was a kid just because of this reason.
Yeah,
because it's just sort of become like a cash grab in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be at least a little bit fun to watch, but now it seems unwatchable. They've made it into too much of
a farce.
Yeah,
that's a good word for it. Yeah,
definitely a good word for
sure.
it.
Moving on to the MLB side of things, the MLB announced on Monday that they would not test players for PEDs. What does that mean for the integrity of the sport? Kevin?
So, I feel like the MLB is only doing this because of the lockout and the sports drug agreement.
What do you mean? You mean they're not doing it so Robinson Cano can shine again after testing positive twice?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of guys that could do that.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I think they're just only doing it because the drug agreement expired.
Right.
Also with the CBA.
Yeah, in all seriousness,
if it does continue post-lockout, it is an unbelievable just
Yeah.
disaster.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
maybe they're trying to bring back the steroid era, but I think it's right until the lockout is over, they're not going to bring it back.
Right.
But hey, maybe this is how they revive the sport with another steroid era. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like the baseball ratings. I mean, I'm talking about ratings again. I mean, like they definitely have plummeted a lot as of
didn't
recently.
help, yeah.
It's been down
Thanks,
since
Rob
the
Manfred.
90s, ever since the steroid era. But I mean, like. I definitely think it's just for the lockout. I definitely don't think they're going to change anything. It would be surprising.
It's hard to test. I mean, it's hard not to test positive with all the banned substances that there are. But also, I think if they do not bring it back, their guys will abuse it.
Yeah, I
you're
mean-
going to see Tommy Edman putting up 72 home runs in a
Right.
season.
Yeah.
Like that just can't happen.
I mean, even if it is like they test people for PEDs, I mean, guys are trying everything
Right.
to enhance
Right.
their game. I mean, they're literally
Sticky
trying
stuff.
everything.
Come on.
Yeah, sticky stuff on their hands. I mean, the Pine Tar, literally anything they can get their hands on.
Sunscreen
they're
and
trying
rosin.
Yeah, they're trying anything that they can to get under the MLB's radar to try and make themselves better.
Right.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Moving on to the ice, with the NHL All-Star Game this weekend, the league introduced some new events to the skills competition. If you had the opportunity to create one event, what would it be? Michael.
I'm probably not create one, but I think they should definitely bring this one back called the Skills Challenge Relay. We saw it in 2017. We did it was like basically did the 3 one-timers. They did precision passing, stick handle across cones, hand-eye coordination, and then goalie goals at the very end.
Yes, but those are interesting. But here's one that's going to be good for both sides. As a hockey player, I think if they adopted a 7-puck shootout, a drill from that most hockey players have done in their practice careers, I think this would be good because it gets the goalies involved and makes them actually try instead of
Right.
just letting them score every time. There's strategy and skill. There's incentive instead of just letting them score. I think that would be pretty awesome, and maybe bring the players back to when they were kids playing in just youth travel hockey and stuff.
What do NHL players hate the most? Hitting the post in a game. Why not incentivize them hitting the post? You can start them from center ice, do a hit the post challenge. They can get 5
Crossbar
shots.
challenge.
That kind of
Crossbar
reminds me.
challenge.
That reminds me of what they do. I think it's in Japan where they do the bunt challenge or
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that would definitely be interesting. But I think the 7-puck shootout would again, it brings incentive because like I didn't watch the skills competition this year because
Right.
I didn't really see any appeal. Yeah,
Right.
some players from my favorite team are in there, but like there's no appeal to it because nobody really tries. It's just who has the cooler shot.
They did bring 2 new events there, and they were really
That's
cool.
true.
The
That
fountain
is true.
face-off and the hockey blackjack thing. That was really cool.
That was kind of cool. Yeah.
I mean, but that might be just a Vegas thing.
That's true.
That's the issue.
right.
Moving over to Olympics. Yes, the Olympics are happening right now. We have a little video here by our producer, Ethan Morrison.
So based on the team event, based on the team event, who do you think will stand out and be on the podium during the individual events later on in the competition? Melanie, we'll start with you.
I definitely think Karen Chen from the U.S. women's team, part of the team, she did a phenomenal free skate, a butterfly.
Okay, I'm going to
steam.
stop you right there. I'm going to butt in because Karen Chen, if you saw, fell in both her short and long programs. She was the 3rd American on the team. I am very upset that USA Figure Skating did not put in Alyssa Liu. I know she had COVID during nationals. That's fine, but she has had the best track record going into this Olympic Games. I think they're resting her, but I'm very disappointed that they really put Karen Chen in for both. Mariah Bell deserves a silver medal as well. I mean,
Here's the
Alyssa
thing.
Liu deserves a silver
Here's
medal
the
as
thing.
well.
Here's the thing. It's just the team event. Team is just practice, No,
Yeah, but that's
no
the thing. You're
country
practicing on
throws-
Olympic ice.
Yes, but no country puts their absolute top person for team. Just
Did you see the Russians? Did you see the Russians?
that's
Valieva, Machina
different. They came back to
Kondrachuk,
fight
and
this
Sinitsina
year
Kitsalapov.
after the
And they
doping
won
scandal.
gold.
They
And
are
they won
back.
gold.
They are
That's
back.
what the U.S. needs to do.
Don't
They are
disagree
back,
there.
but look at who the Russians put up as their 4. Look at the U.S. output. Yes, Nathan Chen. Yes, we have the ice dance. Karen for Fraser. That Paris is obviously our lack. But they put in Karen Chen. She didn't win nationals. Mariah Bell won nationals. They didn't give her a shot. Alyssa Liu, I mean, she's the dark horse. If one of the Russians fail, if Alexandra Trusova goes out on Olympic ice and has a collapse like she did at Europeans or Russian nationals or every single World Cup Grand Prix that she competed in this year, then there's a spot open, and it's either going to be Alyssa Liu or Sari Kawamoto from Japan. One of them will take that bronze medal. Alyssa Liu's will not win gold, but if there's one American that has a chance to get on the podium, it's Alyssa Liu. Done.
All right. But
Okay.
for ice dancing,
All
who
right,
are we
all right,
failing
all right,
here?
all right. Okay. Next off, Luke, I know you were talking about, the different people that were in the team event. Do you think there should have been, other people that should have taken their spots? So I'll go with you first.
Yeah, I feel like Karen Chen should have competed the short and Alyssa Liu compete the long. I don't understand why Vincent Zhou is in there. He tested positive for COVID, which sucks. Oh well. However, he's not a medal factor in the men's event, so it's really not the end of the world. They should have put Alyssa Liu on that Olympic ice, got her ready, because ultimately she's the women's figurehead of the figure skating team that's going to go for a medal. Karen Chen will probably place 8th.
Anything, Melanie? No?
All right, thank you to Ethan there, and also the two guests we had, Melanie and Luke. They're talking about the whole figure skating. And continue on with the Olympics. Who is your Olympic athlete of the week,
based on the team
guys?
event,
I'm going to go over to Tyler here. Who's your
So-
Olympic athlete of the week?
I think, honestly, you have to go with the last line of defense for Canada, and that's Henri Desbiens. The women's hockey goalie for Canada, who made an Olympic record 51 saves against USA in their last game, and she's 3-0 with a 1.33 goals against average in the tournament. She's also, I believe she's at a 956 save percentage through those 2 games. It's going to be hard to take that from her.
Hey, I'm moving on to the snowboard superpipe here with Shawn White. You guys know who Shawn White is, right?
Talking about Mountain Dews, baby.
Hey, that's a great picture of Shawn White. He moved on to the finals of the snowboard superpipe, where he will look to defend his title from 2018. He's 35 years old. He's been one of the best snowboarders on the planet for years, and this competition is actually the final one of his career, as he will be retiring
A guy
after
that
the
can
superpipe
actually
final.
go out on top.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the X Games, but he has 23 career medals. He is an unbelievably decorated snowboarder.
I don't know about you guys. You guys definitely had some old sports in the Olympics, but I'm going to talk about a new sport in big air. I'm going to say Eileen Gu from China. Big air. I mean, this is just probably me just exploiting big air. I absolutely love that.
Is that the course that's next to the nuclear power
yeah, it
plant
was next
in
to the
China?
nuclear power plant. Also a side factor. They jump off the ramp and do tricks, and Eileen Gu won the women's big air gold. So she's an American born. So, and China. I don't know what the specifications of that, but I don't know, just big air. Love big air.
We'll have more right after this, but we'll be coming back with college sports right after this on Sports Talk in the Burgh.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Volver a vivir esos momentos comienza con protegerlos contra el COVID-19 y sus peligrosas variantes nuevas. Obtén la información más reciente en detidepende.org o consulta con tu pediatra o proveedor de servicios médicos.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Hey, boss. Okay.
Said I'm fine.
Hey, son.
Hey, Bob.
You know you can talk to me.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. Like I said, we're going to be moving on to college sports. To start off, we're going to start with men's basketball. Coach K made his last
Severe
trip
weather
to
can
the
strike
Dean Dome
anytime.
on Saturday and dismantled North Carolina. Is Duke now the team to beat in the ACC? Kevin, what do you have for this?
So, yes, I think they were always the team to beat, but they lost to UVA on Monday on a last-second 3. It's the second loss for Duke in Cameron Indoor this season. How often do we see that? You have the resurgence of teams like Notre Dame and Wake Forest. You know, Duke, they've shown they haven't been
Kevin,
human.
though, Notre Dame doesn't really move the needle for me. They're not really impressive
second in the
team.
conference.
They're second in the conference, but it's sort of just been like who's, you know, they're preying on the weak teams like Pitt and like Georgia Tech in the conference.
I mean, you're
but you know, again, you got to give it to Duke. Duke is definitely the cream of the crop. You know, and we keep talking about going out on top. I think Coach K goes out on top with an ACC championship.
Maybe. I mean, they've shown that they haven't been human though in the last few minutes. You know, they were up.
That's true, but it was a
one
1-point loss, a last-second loss. You know, if they make one stop, they win that game. But yeah, Notre Dame doesn't really move the needle for me in second place.
I'm definitely gonna say, I mean, they've been the team to beat, but what a storybook ending this would be. This is Coach K's last season. Paulo Banchero is definitely the #1 prospect in the country, and they're actually top 20 in adjusted offensive and offensive defense and offense and defense. So it's definitely a recipe to win it all. Maybe.
180 from last year, where they were just
that's
unquestionable.
also another reason.
Last season.
Pitt is doing a lot of that this year.
Oh yeah.
Moving on to the RMU side of things, who has been the biggest improvement on the men's basketball team this season at RMU? Michael Deemer, what do you have for this?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to say just their defense overall. I mean, their defense was very, very weak in the very beginning of the year. So they actually, a little nugget for you guys, they allowed 75 points or fewer in the first 18 games, and 5 of the last 6 they have
Michael,
done that,
unfortunately, though, their defense isn't winning them games. They haven't won games all year. And then the player that has been a big factor in winning them games is Cam Ferris, the birthday boy. I think I'm going to have to go with him. Honestly, he's a shade under double digits right now, but that's just because he's trying to fight back from COVID. You know, he's a dead-eye shooter from outside. There's no question for that. One of the best pure shooters in the country. And he has taken a complete jump from his freshman year on to now, you know, getting the starting role and getting in the games. But yeah, like you said, the defense has been good, but also it's not helping them win games.
Another guy who's taken a big jump is Michael Green III. You know, he's gotten the opportunity to step in because of players leaving, and he's taken full advantage of it. He's averaging 11 points per game and nearly 30 minutes per game. And he had a streak of 8 straight games with 10 or more points before last game, where that unfortunately got broken.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's been the point. He's made those clutch shots when it matters. And I mean, he's just been really good for this team this year.
On to the women's side of things. Women's basketball struggled this weekend on the road. Do they have what it takes to compete in the Horizon League down the stretch this season? Kevin, what do you have for this?
I say yes. You know, they have 2 upcoming games against teams that they beat earlier in the season with Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Cleveland State. You know, Wright State has underperformed expectations this year, so RMU can beat them, and the same goes for UIC. You know, that Northern Kentucky game will be interesting because the first time they were supposed to play it got canceled.
That might serve as a bit of a barometer for them too. Like I said, I do think this team can compete. They've had to deal with the cream of the crop in the conference recently with IPY, Youngstown State, all those games in a row. They can never seem to beat Milwaukee any year they've played them. They beat that good Cleveland State team, and they played Youngstown State hard. And like you said, they're going to play Purdue Fort Wayne. I think this team can make some noise come postseason time. They're built for March.
That's what they say. But I mean, the last 2 games have definitely showed that maybe that's not the case. But I definitely think that they'll probably get a win, maybe two in the Horizon League tournament. That'd be kind of reaching. But I mean, yeah, I definitely think that they can make some noise. If they're built for March, then they play Cleveland State very, very soon. So if they beat them again, then that would be
definitely a complete turnaround from last season.
Huge fan of Scott Schneider too, because he's done a really great job ever since he stepped in for Charlie Biscaglia of keeping the team together.
Players have bought in. Players have really bought into him.
Moving over to men's lacrosse. Men's lacrosse took on Duke to open up the season. What are your first impressions of the team, Tyler?
You know, I think this team is better than people think. Yes, it was a bad game against Duke, bad first half, but you're going to have rust in your first game of the season, especially going up against the #1 team in the country. I think they can make some noise in the ASUN, contrary to popular belief, but I also I'm really looking forward to that game against Utah when they take on their old coach, Andrew McMahon, see if there's any bad blood there. I mean, because he sort of just took the money and went to Utah. So I think, it's going to be an interesting season for them. I think they can make some noise in the ASUN because they've played these teams that are in the conference very well over the years.
You say that they were playing against Duke, they were down 10-1. Yeah, that's bad, but they also had a 6-1 run right after that. So if they have that sort of run and maybe have that sort of resurgence after that defeat, they were down in the first quarter. So you might be down and lost, but 6-1 run right after that, you have to have some sort of resilience.
Yeah, I mean, they scored 12 goals. I mean, Tiger Clark with 4, Corson Keeley with 3. I mean, I think it's just a great sign to come, especially with, as you said, the first half was bad, but I mean, a performance like that against the number 1 team in the nation, I mean, I think that's a great sign of things to come and what things will be like for the men's lacrosse team.
Over to the women's side, women's lacrosse opens up the season against Ohio State this Saturday. Do they have a chance to go back-to-back in the MAC championship? Going over to Kevin here.
I say no, and I know this is an unpopular opinion. Look, I could go on and on
unpopular.
about this. They're losing
Very
both Gandy
unpopular.
twins and Cleo Kerr. They lost 3 senior defenders, Shea McCardle, Kelly Colgrove,
Kevin,
Madison
they
Burke.
lost those players, but
Hey,
that
they
doesn't
didn't lose
hang on.
everyone, though.
Hang on. The MAC goalkeeper of the year, Caitlin Miller. I could go on.
Yeah, and you know what? They have backups that have played on this team
Right.
Look,
and have scored goals for
Exactly.
this team.
Look, hang
Kevin.
on. In their 14 wins last year, they outscored their opponents 241 to 108. How are they going to do that again without their 3 senior defenders?
It's called
their big
players
3?
that are taking a step up this year. They
They
have
lost a lot of talent.
They also
A
have
ton of
talented
talent.
freshmen
Yeah,
last year
that's
that are
true.
going to come
That's
on
very
this
true.
year.
Yeah.
I think they won't go undefeated
Yeah.
like they did last year, but they'll win it again. I mean, this conference is pretty much cake for them. Like
Yeah,
it
I
was
know.
last year.
It's their
Only one
conference to
game was
lose.
within less than 10 goals of them. Like, yeah, you lose that scoring touch, but you're also not going to lose those goals. The defense that was really good. Like you said, they lost the players, but I think this team can still win the MAC.
We'll see.
I agree.
Over to the softball side of things. Who is your softball player to watch this season? Tyler, who do you have for this?
Well, Nate, boys, I'm going to have to go to my deck of cards and pull out the ace right here. The ace of RMU softball, Dana Vitakis, that's right. She was a great pitcher for this team last year, really the rock of the staff. 4.28 ERA, but that's ballooned by her bad performance in the postseason tournament. Take it out, 3.98, sub 4. She had 7 earned runs in that game. She had the most innings pitched on the staff, most strikeouts by far with 90. And senior, she's going to be the really important pitcher for this team to keep the ship steady as she did last season.
I got Erica Bell, also like you said, she's also a senior. She's going to be one of the leaders on and off the field. She hit 304 last season, had 3 home runs. Those are great stats for a catcher. I think she'll be a really big part of the team
Extremely
this
clutch
season.
player, too.
Yeah, for sure.
It might be a little bit of a surprise, but I'm going to say the sophomore of Faith Miller. I know it may seem maybe a little bit like maybe out of the ordinary, but she did really well last year. It was a 258 average, maybe not as well as.
And I'll tell you what, Michael, it's 258, but she was above 300 for almost the entire season before hitting a rough stretch in the middle of it where she brought herself back down to earth a little bit. She started off really strong. If she can put up some power numbers this year, definitely would be a big part of this team.
I completely agree with that. We're going to be moving on over to our athletes of the week. We're going to start off with Michael Deemer. What do you have for your athlete of the week?
So I'm going to go with Purdue men's basketball's Jaden Ivey. Last week he had 23.3 points per game, including a 26 performance against number 13 Illinois. That is with Kofi Coburn and Andre Cabello. So it's definitely 48% in the past week shooting. So he's been absolutely lights out. Purdue definitely going to make some noise.
Tyler, I really like your pick, by the way, but I picked Jordan Jelly Walker, a junior guard for UAB men's basketball. First of all, he's got a fantastic nickname. Put up 42 points Saturday against Middle Tennessee. Walker set the single-game record for points in a game in UAB history.
Okay,
UAB 18-5. Hey,
Walker
they're a potential bid stealer.
That's right. Walker was good, but Caitlin Clark is breaking women's basketball right now. She averages 36.5 points per game in her last 2, including 46 against Michigan in a loss.
Yeah.
This play, Caitlin Clark averaging 27.4 points in the season, 8.5 rebounds. She had a double-double in her last game. She is just impressive. And when you get praised by Trey Young on Twitter, of all people, you know you're doing something right.
She's pulling up from the logo.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw a
pulling
clip of her
up
on
from the
Twitter.
logo.
Pulling up from
Definitely.
the logo. Not once, but multiple times.
Definitely a good week for college basketball.
Yep, absolutely.
Right after this break, we're going to be moving on to our panelists' final takes.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
And banding together.
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an
to
effort.
get to know each other,
On a deeper level. Father.
cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
And discover
How accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
Sam, Elmo.
Oh, hey, Julia. Are you ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early Screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one. Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
Welcome back to Sports Talk in the Burgh. Like I said before, we're going to be moving on to our final takes. Gallo, take it away.
Thanks, Nate. With the recent news that the Horizon League will be banning UIC from postseason tournaments after it announced its move to the Missouri Valley Conference, it opened up a lot of debate as teams like Monmouth and Stony Brook had the same thing happen to them earlier in the year. And sure, while athletes are going to miss out on competing, it's not like 9th place men's basketball and 10th place and 2-17 women's basketball we're going to presently make noise for the Horizon League tournament in basketball. And while softball played really well last year, but the school had to know this was coming, announcing this in the middle of the season. They should have left it in their back pocket until the end of the year, like Robert Morris did, joining the Horizon League to combat any repercussions. It really sucks, but I can understand why the Horizon League did this to them.
Deemer, go ahead. No, go ahead, Deemer.
Kurt Zuma, for those who don't know, is a French center back who plays for West Ham in England across the pond. It was recently shed the light that he threw and dropkicked his cat. Obviously, you would think he would be disciplined for it. He was. He lost sponsorships, including his one with Adidas. But the problem is, he played the very next day after this video came across. He played Tuesday night against Watford amid the video evidence abusing his animal. It's an absolute shame how he was able to be left to play, let alone start for the Irons. An investigation is in place now, but I'm appalled to see Zuma even touch the field Tuesday night. The RSPCA has taken away his catch, rightfully so, but it's an absolute travesty for the animal to be treated like that and not to be suspended 24 hours after the video has been surfaced. Shame on you, Kurt Zuma.
Well, since this show is called Sports Talk in the Burgh, it's only right we talk about some Pittsburgh teams. This is now year 4 of the Jeff Capel era at Pitt, and he has not produced in a way that has responded well with the fans. With the college basketball season winding down, the Panthers sit at 8-16 overall and 3-10 in ACC play. They have losses to the Citadel, UMBC, and even Monmouth, and are coming off of 2 absolutely embarrassing performances against Virginia Tech. These were considered winnable games, but Pitt did everything but win. They didn't even look competitive. If Pitt does not win at least a couple of their remaining 7 games, a buyout of Capel's contract may be unavoidable. It looks like this team is on the verge of heading back to square one again. After so many years of success back in the day, it is amazing to see a team fall so far from grace, and it's hard to imagine them getting back to NCAA tournament form anytime soon.
Kevin, you beg an interesting question with your topic here. How long? I mean, if Capel doesn't get fired this year, how long do you think he lasts after this year?
Oh, 1 more season.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on the fence of him staying for next season, but now I don't think he should. And I mean, the most he'll get is, I'd say, 1 more season.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in here on Sports Talk in the Burgh. It's been a wonderful week, and once again, thanks guys for arguing with me today. It was a fun time. Yeah. And we'll see you in 2 weeks next time for the next Sports Talk in the Burgh.